EV Ultra is predominantly designed for car charging installations, so EV, the electric vehicle market.
That we actually got stopped walking round and people saw Doncaster Cables and started asking about EV Ultra, and that's when I sort of rung Neil and said this was something big happening here. Powerwall Connect, which I don't know if you've heard of that cable, but from EV Ultra we got contacted by Tesla, so they'd seen
As you do, yeah.
Everyone's just got the same mindset and everyone's got the same ethics and culture and just want the business to succeed, and we've all got the same vision and same goals, really.
You know, that whole kind of people don't buy from businesses, people buy from people. And yes, although the products are all amazing, you know, you are a nice business to deal with.
And wait until a time like this, possibly, where people see the value in, I actually want it to be right, and I want it to be made in Britain, and all the service that comes with it.
Hi guys, Rich from Art Smart. Welcome back to another episode of the podcast. Today we're over at Doncaster Cables, which, believe it or not, is in Doncaster, in the north of UK, and we're here to see the cables that they make. Well, name's in the title, they make cables. They make a little bit of everything from singles to twin and earth to armoured cables to their famous EV Ultra, which we're going to cover in depth today. And I am joined by
Aaron Walstow.
Aaron Walstow. Aaron, what's your official job title for Doncaster Cables?
I'm a director of the company, mainly looking after manufacturing.
Now, he's actually a very modest guy because, as I've even seen in just a couple of hours we've been here this morning, you're a man that wears many caps, but wears many caps, I would say, probably fairly so to you, very passionately. Enjoy what you do.
I love it. I came here for a year out from university.
Yeah.
15 years ago. Never went back, never finished my degree.
So just loved it that much?
Just loved it.
Now you're part of the furniture?
Yeah, loved taking a handful of raw materials and converting that into over 3,000 different types of electrical cables. But yeah, just fell in love with it.
And I mean, man, many guys have fallen in love with it. Just having an hour walk around the factory today. And obviously I did. I love stuff like this. And because obviously I'm an electrician at core. Yeah, these are all products that I've used and installed over the years. I mean, we still use exclusively Doncaster Cables on our installs now, and even specify for our partners when we're doing a project together that the cable must be Doncaster Cables, whether you did or did not know that. So,
no, we did. We did from previous posts, so that's really good.
Yeah, yes. If we're ever doing a job, we always say it must be, because part of the reason is, well, you're a nice business and nice people behind the business, but one of the main things for me and the main selling point behind Doncaster Cables is it's all British made. So it's all literally all made here. The amount of different lines and assembly lines and extruders and all the different kind of winding machines, literally we're gonna do a video and go through it, but you literally take it from pellets and copper bar through to a finished cable.
One before that even, because we're actually making the pellets. So we're making the PVC pellets. So we've got the compound plant. So we'll get resins, fillers, stabilizers, oils, and we'll make our own pellets. And then we're buying in copper rod, copper bar, and then we're drawing that to all the diameters that we need.
Yeah, so we've been having a look at the drawing machine. That's pretty cool. So literally you buy it in 8mm diameter, is it?
8mm diameter, 4 to 5 ton packs. And then we
4 to 5 ton based on current copper prices, which is currently what I mean. Those massive drums that are sat on the floor, well, they're kind of winds, aren't they? What's one of those currently sat at?
About £40,000 a coil, depending when the podcast airs.
Yeah, depending, it could be more.
It might be completely different by then. It's so volatile at the moment.
So that's the thing. And sometimes I think our clients think we're just winding them up, and I'm like, oh no, cost has gone up. We have another cable supplier for like Cat 6 and stuff that we use, and like they've literally in the last 6 months updated their price 5 times. And it's literally that kind of increases, isn't it? And there's
and in the data cables, there's not as much when you get to general wiring products. It can make up between 40 and 80% of the actual raw material. And if you look at copper before COVID, so there's two things. There's a COVID implication, and then there's the Ukraine issue and the Ukraine invasion.
But and even even a war can affect the price of copper,
Yeah, well, Russia's, I think it's the sixth biggest producer of copper in the world.
right?
So that caused massive. So before COVID, about £4,200 per tonne before COVID. Then leading before the Ukraine invasion, £7,000 a tonne. And then in the last month with the Ukraine invasion, it jumped up about £1,000 a tonne in the space of 5-6 days. So we're about £8,000 a tonne now.
That's unbelievable. Now, well, obviously, with price increases like that, even from you buying the raw materials, but that's keeping you on your toes at the moment.
Yeah, it's a massive challenge. If you just think of the whole business, any business is set up on relationships, but then credit limits and finance. And when something has doubled in value, everyone throughout the supply chain has credit limits. For example, you might have 50,000 or 250,000, but if the value of everything's doubled, all those have to be reevaluated in a time when there's massive uncertainty globally and people don't want to give more people credit. So it just causes massive problems in the whole industry, really.
Literally, supply chain end to end. Yeah, I mean, even for us, it's impacting things. We're kind of mitigating as much as possible, and even say for clients, we're saying to a client now, like, if you want to secure today's price, you need to pay it today's price, because we are only allowing quotes at a minute for 14 days. Is holding pricing for, because things are just literally just flying up.
Yeah, we try and issue a price list once a month. Traditionally, that's what we do, because of raw materials. In the last month, we had to issue 3. During the Ukraine invasion, when that first started, we had to issue 3 within 10 days, just because of how much it had gone up.
It's unbelievable.
Yeah, and copper's only one part of the puzzle, really. So if you look at the polymer side of the business,
even the plastics is up at the minute. Nearly
doubled.
Yeah.
So what used to be £800 a tonne's now £1,600 a tonne, for example. Silicon for the fire performance products, galv steel, timber, cardboard just goes up and up and up all the time. Just everything. Everything's just going up and up and up all the time.
So when these electricians are seeing the drums of twin and earth in the wholesaler and they're going, bloody hell, 95 quid for a 1.5 twin and earth. Yeah. It just is what it is now.
It is. There's not much else we can do. It's a commodity-driven product when you look at copper, but everyone's just struggling. Throughout COVID, the prices just rose and rose and rose, and we had massive shortages of raw materials such as resins, PVC resin worldwide, just nearly impossible to get hold of for many reasons, but they had some issues with big producers and the plants shut down. You also had everybody who couldn't go on holiday and decided to invest that money into the house, so they all bought new windows or a new extension or new gutter in, and everything used PVC resin. So there was just a massive supply and demand shortage, which pushed prices through the roof.
Yeah, crazy. So has that been the main effects of COVID on the business? Would be the price increases? Yeah. Or has there been other things that have affected you over the last couple of years?
I think when COVID first came about, it was a massive worry for everybody. So everybody just wanted to deplete the stocks as much as they possibly could. I think every business around.
Yeah, cost draw that stock down.
Yeah,
get some cash back in.
And then people realised that construction was still ongoing. So everyone got rid of all the stocks, and then they all wanted it back within a week. So we just ended up with a massive stock minus on our order book. And we slowly come through that. But there were some challenges, some nice bits. So we got to make some cable for the Nightingale hospitals.
Right.
So 4mm twin and earth, there wasn't anyone in the UK that could make the amount and the volume that they wanted. So we got to make that for the Nightingale Hospital at Birmingham, which was quite nice. We shipped all that over.
That was all right, quick. Let's gear up the production lines and get some 4mm on.
Yeah, we give up the production lines. We actually got the stranding operative. He was coming in. He was actually setting his alarm, and he was coming in at 2:00 in the morning, and then 3:30 in the morning just to change the drums over. So he actually worked through the nights and then weekends and just set his alarm, come in for 20 minutes, set the machine running, and then he'd go back and get another hour's worth of sleep. So yeah,
some commitment.
Yeah, everyone come together. Yeah, we're good.
Yeah, so obviously that's nice that I did that, but I've kind of seen, even just from in the interactions with people within the business I've seen today, that it's got a kind of nice family business feel about it, even though it's obviously huge.
Yeah, so we're the largest British-owned cable manufacturer. We're owned by a family, and it is a very family-run business, which is one of the reasons why I love being here, but my wife works here. The managing director's late father really set up the business, and we've got brothers who work here. Until a year ago, we actually had father, son, and then grandfather, grandson before the grandfather retired. But yeah, it's a massive family feel.
Nice that you've got generations coming through the business.
Yeah, just generations, yeah. And there's not many businesses, I don't think, where you could walk around and senior management would know every person by the first name. And that's just sort of the culture of the business. Yeah, it's nice.
Yeah, and that's obviously, like I say, you do a lot. You do the development, dealing day to day on the shop and stuff. But even Neil, who didn't want to be on the podcast today, unfortunately, he leaves Aaron to be the face of the business. But Neil didn't want to come on. But even Neil today is, after he's started lunch, he's on the brews. He's a nice managing director.
Yeah, it's really how the business was set up, and because I've been here nearly all my professional career now, it's the sort of how I was brought up to ultimately run the business. But it's just the culture that we've got. Everybody wants to come together. We all work as a team. We look after each other. And just try and come through together.
Nice. So let's go through some of the products then, because we're going to finish with the with your superstar product.
Superstar
product. Come on, no, because it is.
Which one?
I like that. No, we're going to finish on the EV Ultra, but let's go through some of the other ranges. What would you say are your greatest cables? What's your main one? Obviously, you got your twin and earths. That's obviously that's bread and butter.
Yes, yeah. So I think interesting fact or marketing line, whatever you want to call it, but we're the only manufacturer in the UK that's left that makes the full range of general wiring and flexible cords. So most of that's now gone overseas, and in 70s, 80s, 95% of the cable that was installed in Britain was made in Britain, and now we're nearly complete role reverse, and over 80% is actually imported. So it's nice to still be flying the flag there. But yeah, so general wiring, flexible cords, we make single cores, so 6491X and the LSF counterpart, twin and earth and LSF twin and earth, full range of flexibles, so light duty, ordinary duty, Arctics, heat resistant. We've then got
Are these all with your own polymer mixes as well?
Yes, yeah. All with on polymer mixers, yeah. Fire performance cables, so we've got the Fireshore brand. Armoured cables up to about 35mm 5-core in steel wire armoured cables. And then we get onto the fun stuff like EV Ultra and Powerwall Connect and things like that. Yeah,
so the EV Ultra, now, again, you're a very modest guy, so I'm gonna do the blowing the smoke for you. But you told me before the podcast, and I didn't know this. Obviously, I knew you obviously developed it in house, but you created EV Ultra and it down as registered inventor.
When we did the patent application, because EV Ultra is now patent pending, I had to sign off as the inventor and the. But yeah, modest is a good word. So I like to say I led the R&D team. But yeah, so between myself, who led the team, and the R&D team behind us, we developed the cable about 2 years. And it just started off with looking what people were doing in the EV space, really. So
yeah. So for those who don't know that are listening to podcasts, so the EV Ultra is predominantly designed for car charging installations. So EV, the electric vehicle market. And effectively what you've done there is you've got a armoured cable, and again, doing various sizes, come on to that set, but you've then embodied a data cable in. Now, for anybody that is an electrician watching, or maybe not an electrician, will know that you shouldn't run power and data cables directly together. You should have segregation. What we're actually doing with the EV Ultra is binding it in a single armoured cable. So how do you even get around that? How do you the regs are, you must have cable segregation, 300mm between conductors, and you're going, now I'm going to bang it in the same sheath. I'm actually going to spiral bind them together.
Yeah, so that's how it started, really. That was the challenge and the exciting bit. So we looked at what people were doing, and when EV chargers needed data, or load management was a big one, they were cable tying a power and a data cable together, which is fundamentally wrong. Like you said, they should be segregated. And we just took that challenge and looked at all the reasons why they had to be segregated and tried to challenge the norms. So we designed a cable and developed a cable where the two main reasons are the voltage rating of the data cable and the power cable. So you have to, if something's got a different nominal voltage, they need to be segregated.
Yeah.
So we designed the data cable so it was the same nominal voltage.
So that's the PVC jacket on, if you like.
Yeah, the materials, yeah.
Yeah.
And then the other one is electrical noise and interference. So we developed something which we've dubbed as super screen, which that's about as much information as we want to give. But
that's all you're getting.
Yeah, that's all you're getting. Super screen,
yeah.
Which then stops this interference between the power and the data.
Which literally means you can put the power cable directly to it. And
yeah, so it took us a long time to do. I think probably about 18 months. We just made stuff that didn't work, but we didn't give up. We were testing it in-house to start with, so we had our own data test kit. We were making different samples. We looked at all different ways of actually assembling the cable. We found one that worked, and we were happy with it. Put it into the market. Electricians loved it. Worked in practice.
Again, you're very modest. Put it into the market, and boom.
And boom.
And boom. No, but it's the go-to cable for EV chargers in the UK market.
Yeah, someone asked Neil and I that question. They said, what's the goal with EV Ultra? And they asked it, this was about a year ago. And when they left, we realised we haven't really got one. And what you've just said there is actually what we set as the goal. We wanted it to be the go-to cable for EV chargers.
And it is. I would say it is.
Yeah, we've got there now. So when we first started, Instagram was huge because the whole nature of the cable is it's quicker for the electricians. But for the end user, it's just neater and tidier. So quicker, neater, tidier. And because of that, it was very Instagrammable and it got the word out and people started using it.
So you're even finding as a business, which obviously developed many moons ago, that obviously platforms like Instagram are helping accelerate growth on products.
Yeah, definitely. EV Ultra, 100%. Without the social media and Instagram in particular, we would have struggled to get the word out, especially when it goes against what everybody's been taught. And then following on from that, it got to a lot of people, but some people still challenge the principle of it. So we then went to BASEC, which is the British Approval Service for Cables. There isn't a British standard for it because it is completely innovative, complete new innovation.
You're breaking the mould.
Breaking the mould, yeah. So we asked BASEC to design a specification for it. So we worked with their technical committee. We developed a standard which offers the same degree of safety or more than what the wiring regs need, and then we paid for that approval process. So we've now got our own standard, which is written by BASEC. We've got third-party approval on the products. They test it in the power lab and in the data lab to make sure it's fit for purpose. And that, again, has just taken it on to another level.
So it's now got full BASEC approval.
Full BASEC approval.
I know when I initially chatted to you maybe 18 months ago, I think we were having a random chat at an event somewhere about the cable, and it didn't have it at that time.
No.
And then obviously, so it's got that now.
Yes, now it's got BASEC approval, yeah. So now it's fully...
So all the haters can shut up now, basically. It's got BASEC approval, yeah? So the cable is legit.
So now it's just a tick.
Yeah.
Just a tick on them. Because I think the people think that issue was signing it as a departure from the regulations. Because then you're taking some onus on, this is what I'm putting my name to this being all right. And to take that away and say, no, actually, BASEC have got a massive test lab and a massive data lab.
And they've signed it off. And in fact, if you actually look on the sheath of the cable, it is extruded onto the side of it and printed on.
It is, yes.
Yes, obviously, the cable's used for EV chargers, but like what I'm seeing a lot, and we've actually done it on a couple of projects, is things like running supplies in for electric gates now, or running in feeds to a summer house or an outbuilding. You know, client maybe wants a data point or Wi-Fi in. So rather than electricians installing two cables, then using the EV Ultra cable to run in summer house supplies as well. Yeah,
it's just grown arms and legs. So gate entry systems, CCTV, caravan parks it's been used on. But the applications for power and data are just growing and growing all the time.
Oh, massively, yeah.
So it just come at a good time. And there's sort of two trains of thought with it. Some, when I went to the Fully Charged show, the EV show, speaking to some electricians, actually I just went in this jacket. We actually got stopped walking around and people saw Doncaster Cables and started asking about EV Ultra, and that's when I sort of rung Neil and said, this was something big happening here, because people are just randomly stopping me to talk about a product I'm not even trying to advertise.
Yeah.
But it just revolutionised the business. So the installers, where they were getting 2 installs a day, we're getting 3, and adding an extra install in the day's labour. And then some people had a completely different approach, and it was, I only need to install 2 of these to keep the lifestyle that I've got. I'm going to finish work at 1:30, and I'm going to go and pick my children up from school and have the afternoon with my family. And that one threw me a bit at first, but it was just amazing, really.
So that's crazy that you've developed a product, which obviously saved the end goal for everything, really, isn't it? Save people time, money, get some more time with the family.
Yeah.
And even again, do you know what it is? And that kind of says everything for me about Doncaster Cables and why we exclusively use you. You know, and I'm sure you have off the side of it. And but your main thing you're thinking of there is you're enjoying the success of the product because of those qualities from in feedback, not because it's making you a shit ton of money.
Yeah, that's where a lot of the business and how I brought into the business is we're focused on the end user and the electrician. We've been doing that for years in all different aspects, and that's why people like the cable. So the reason we've invested £1 million in the compound plant is so we can engineer individual grades of PVC that can suit the product the best it possibly can to make the electrician's life easier.
And because it's crazy because, again, stripped many cables, but even the way the cable strips compared to other cable, even the way the inner cores, will come off on a twin and earth cable, sometimes they're a little bit stiff, which I'll just pop off straight away. And even with the LSF, you created the easy strip LSF.
Yeah, the figure of 8 style.
Yeah, so rather than it being a traditional sheath on it, because you do make all your own extrusions, molds, everything, you then just create a figure of 8 style cable, which meant it was easier to strip.
Yeah, so we've been having that sort of mentality for a long time, as long as I've been here. But to translate that into something as big as EV Ultra, it was just phenomenal. And then we did that the same with Powerwall Connect, which I don't know if you've heard of that cable, but from EV Ultra, we got contacted by Tesla. So they'd say
as you do, yeah. Just got Ellen on the phone. Oh, yeah. Yeah, so Tesla contacted you.
Tesla contacted us they'd seen EV Ultra.
Hang on a minute, I just need to rewind because I bet you was in the office up there. Hello? Can't. It's Tesla on the phone. Bear that in the office.
Yeah, it were a bizarre one. But they'd been asking a cable. So they had a problem with their installs, and this is the Powerwall on the gateway. And over 80% of their technical issues were down to cable selection by the installers for whatever reason. And they'd been asking cable manufacturers to produce something which gave them all the cables they needed to basically guarantee compliance. And everyone had failed. No one had done it. And they'd come to us in the end, and we worked with their R&D team, the technical team at Tesla UK, developed what we call Powerwall Connect, which is then 4 cables in one. So now there's power, 2 sets of data, and a 12-volt supply. And again, it's now 4 in 1, more save time, save money on materials, and
looks neat too. You've not got 4 cables strung down between enclosures.
Yeah, so that were another good one. The success on that one's limited because it's custom made for Tesla Powerwalls. So it depends how many Powerwalls are going to go in. But another good one.
I suppose that custom made is quite a nice thing to come onto because it's something we were looking at together. But you will actually make, because if somebody rang you up and said, "Oh, I'd like this cable making," or "I've got an idea for this cable," you can make it.
Yeah, we can design
within reason. Within reason.
Reason. Yeah. So we've got over £20 million worth of plant and equipment over in the factory. You look at the average tenureship on site that we've got in employees. Most of the people in the factory have been there over 20 years, some over 30 years. We've got a massive wealth of knowledge and experience, and people understand the products, materials, and the machines. So you can actually design completely unique cables. But if someone comes with an idea, I think they have to understand the process a bit, because it's not like an assembly line where you can make a prototype. You've got to make 5,000 meters to get a prototype.
So we first looked at a cable, two types of cable we're looking at doing together. Looked at that last year, and obviously with copper prices, I just backed off the gas until they settled, but probably bit me in the ass now because it's probably not going to settle.
We've still not talked about these with anybody, so we're still at the stage where it was
top secret. So those products. So I give you you what I'd like to make. You give me some ideas back, some cost. But then I think, what was it? Was it 10,000 meters per SKU slash size slash?
Yes, yeah.
But at first I was thinking like 10,000 meters. Like what? Why do I need to get 10,000 meters? And I come to the factory today and I thought, you sure you would need to do 10,000 meters?
Yeah,
it is, and the speed of those machines is.
Yeah, it's the length. So the lengths are like 30, 40 meters long, but then they go around pulley wheels, so it's doing 5 or 6 passes. So the actual length before you get anything onto a drum is enormous, and you got all the startup cost. But then if you get something that's away from the norm, you've then got to buy the tooling, so the extrusion tooling. So that's then an added cost on top, and you've got to sort of pay for the tooling and what other equipment you need to do it.
Yeah, and associated.
But yeah, if someone wants to produce something new, though, new cable.
That's not my idea. Yeah, they can. So Doncaster Cables predominantly obviously make the cables, as we've gone through in quite a lot of depth today, but outside that there's quite a few like installation tools and accessories that you're a distributor of. Is that good?
Yeah, we try and partner up with different companies where they've got the same sort of values and we feel like it can add value to the electrician.
So one of those being the Rumpotech mod?
The Rumpotech, yeah, so a full range of cable handling equipment. That really came from Neil seeing the product, a meeting with the company in Austria. Same values as we've got, so family, company, all about quality of product and service. That range is just amazing. So there's the X-board, which people have seen in various videos around Instagram, social media. The whole range is enormous. They've got lifting equipment. They've got rods.
Even there, the ducting accessories that are literally just behind me there. Yeah,
but everything's got a twist and more quality. So the ducting accessories, you can actually either shoot that out in fast mode or slow mode, for example. So you can actually shoot that out and it'll go down the duct. But then a lot of it's modular. So you've got the X-board will fit with the inspection camera. So you could buy the X-board and the inspection camera and run that through a duct. Or the rods that they sell are made with basalt rather than fiberglass.
Right.
So they won't splinter as easily. You can actually take one and bend it on itself. And it won't break.
Nice.
And they don't splinter like the fiberglass ones. So everything's just the same as we are. It's making it as good as you can possibly make it to be, with the view that it's going to be better for an electrician.
Yeah. So Neil actually went out to Austria to secure that one, did we?
He did.
Anything for a nice little jolly, don't Neil? Was it? Oh, I'll go sort this one out.
Yeah, she just brought them back.
Yeah.
I found these are brilliant.
Yeah.
just like brought a few containers back with him.
Yeah. So he sat in the room, and I don't want to make him feel awkward because he's actually just come in for this MBA here. But obviously because he signed you up to do everything like this, and I feel he sits in the shadows a little bit. But obviously with him being managing director, have you got any nice words to say about your boss?
While he's in the room, are you really giving me an option? No, Neil's great. Yeah. We run the business, and I think we're both brought up similar ways. So Neil's late father set up the business.
Yeah.
And he brought me up for 14 years. So I learned a lot of my business skills from Chris, and Neil would have done the same because it was Neil's father. So we've got very much the same mentality in how a business should operate and how we should try and look after people. And everything, again, has just been passed on where it is the best possible service that you can give, the best possible products, and everything else will fall into line.
Yeah. That's per all the quotes in the factory.
Yeah.
And the fact, literally crazy, that you literally have you did, but had 3 generations from the same family all working in there as well.
Yes, yeah. Yeah, there's just family all over. It's just it's just a family business. And we've mentioned it before, but when you can walk around and you know everybody, and you know everyone by first name.
And you know there's something, and I know this is going to sound really daft, but I just clocked it before when I was having a look at the camera set up on the table. But even next to the boardroom phone, it's not got like accounts, warehouse, distribution, lab. It's got Sarah, John. It's got everybody by the first name. But that's awesome, because you don't really get that in companies of this level, to still have that kind of personal touch and family vibe about it as well.
Yeah, and it's strange because that's all I've ever known.
Yeah, no, because you don't know any different.
I've been to other businesses and I can see it, but that for me is normal, even though I know it's not normal. And I think it just translates so well. It's the reason why I never went back to do what I set out to do, and I just stopped here. everyone's just got the same mindset and everyone's got the same ethics and culture and just want the business to succeed, and we've all got the same vision and same goals, really.
Yeah, no, definitely. And it kind of comes down to that. And I'm sure it's not the forefront of why you do it, it's because it just makes it more pleasurable day to day. But, that whole kind of people don't buy from businesses, people buy from people. And yes, although the products are all amazing, you are a nice business to deal with, from our side of things as well, which again is why we exclusively use you. So, yeah, awesome. So, the business this size and that many machines in the factory, how big is your health and safety and HR team? Must be hundreds of people. Don't touch that. Don't touch that.
Fortunately, we've got that much experience in there.
Yeah.
That we don't really have any major issues or that many accidents whatsoever. And I think today I'd probably be more worried about Cam flying his drone than somebody actually hurting themselves in the factory.
Yeah. So because Cam did it at FS Cables and he did a pretty good job of it, and we've obviously posted it on LinkedIn that Cam had flown a drone. When we come here today, they're like, can we fly the drone around above all these really fancy, fast-spinning machines that are spinning copper everywhere and putting molten plastic on them? And he's up for the challenge. Cam's going to give it a go.
Yeah, they're only worth £1 million each, these machines. It's fine.
It's all right. We'll chuck the drone in it, extrude it. So, yeah, we've obviously all the manufacturing. And I suppose let's just talk about the stock, because I didn't even realise, even coming through there in the yard, you've literally got a yard outside that is just full of massive drums of armoured ready to be drawn off.
Yeah, so I think stock ready to be saleable stock over 3.5 million, so about 3.6 million on site in armoured and finished reel stock. We probably got about the same in backup in the factory as what we call work in progress. So yeah, probably over 7 million on site, and we're just trying to keep that coming through and turning over. So when we're just buying in copper, we're buying that in 28 tons at a time. So we'll buy a load of copper, and that's 28 tons on the 8mm rod coils.
Let me do some quick maths. 28 tons times 8,000 a ton. Quick maths ain't working fast enough. How much is that? That's a lot.
What are you asking me? You're just going to spin that straight back around.
Put it back on to you. So how much is that?
8 times 28.
Yeah.
So that's 160.
I'll do 8 times 30, make it easy.
Yeah, 176, 180,000.
So just best part of 200 grams worth of
200. I think we need to figure out the maths and come back to this question, don't we?
We're going to have to do some clever editing and cut it.
It's about 200 grand, that's what it is.
Yeah. But we'll just edit it. And these are probably going to save this. These are probably going to save this.
just come back
completely
and
mug me off.
Fingers and thumbs.
Listen, I'm under pressure on this microphone. I just don't know what it is. I forgot even what 8,000.
8,000 times 28.
Times 28. Jeez.
What were it?
224,000 plus VAT, probably.
Yeah.
Only plus VAT. So yeah, best part of £250,000 worth of copper you're buying in at a time.
Yeah, it's plus VAT plus transformational costs, because we're buying the rod, not the cathode. So that £8,000 is like the cathode price. So we've got to pay for someone to actually make that into continuously coiled rod. So it's about £250,000 a load, £250,000 per load.
Whereabouts to keep that? Asking for a friend?
Well, that's not the stuff we're worried about. You can't carry a 5-ton coil out under your arm, so we're not too worried about that. But we'll show you that in the wire drone area.
Yeah. But obviously, to be fair, you've got 24 hours of security?
Yeah, security's massive. We've got 24-hour security, about 50 CCTV cameras.
Them cameras monitored?
Yes, monitored. Yeah. We've got rapid response from security, which is a local firm. We've got planning permission to attach high voltage substation to the fences on the outside.
Electrify it all up.
That'd be the easiest one.
Possibly the ultra to it. We've got a camera to catch them at the same time. But yeah, no, it's because there was even like I say, walking through the yard outside, literally as you walk around that factory, it's roll of copper, drum of copper, another bit of copper with a sheathing on, copper with sheathing and an outer sheathing. There's literally spools just in any space you can find, basically, isn't there? It's just everywhere, ready to go on to its next process.
Yeah, I think that's what most people find interesting when they come, is they sort of expect an assembly line. So all the stuff goes in one end and it comes out the other, and that's just not cable making. It's all about production planning and scheduling and batching. We do stuff in batches, so we will draw all the same diameter wires, and then we'll strand it all together. We'll get a full set of 6mm copper, 250,000 meters, and then we'll insulate all that copper, and then we'll use different cores for different products. So yeah, we'll insulate a family of cores, and then we lay up those into different types, and then sheathe same materials together. So yeah, it's quite a complex, intermittent process around the factory.
Yeah, and then obviously you literally do all, even for the armours, you do all the steel wire armouring in here as well.
Yeah, so we've got a couple of armouring machines, drum twister machines, where we put all the galv steel on.
That machine, I looked at it and it actually made me dizzy.
It's like
It literally,
fairground
like,
ride.
oh, I wouldn't like to get on it. Yeah, it literally spins so fast. And so what other machines do you say it spins at 1,200 revolutions per minute?
Yeah, on the stranding machines, that's
Yeah.
stranding the copper. Yeah, 1,200 twists per minute.
It's a lot, isn't it?
Yeah.
So it must be, how do you deal with keeping on top of all these machines? Do you have people in-house?
Yeah, we've got a maintenance team on site, so 2 electrical engineers, 2 mechanical engineers. We've then got a lot of support network behind us. Or look at PLCs and drives, and we can go back to the machine manufacturer. A lot of the new kit has actually got data connection coming in, which isn't EV Ultra, but it will be on on the new machine that's coming in. It will be.
Yeah, you have to. It'd be kind of illegal if you didn't.
So yeah, they've got data coming in, and they can actually log on remotely and fault find on equipment and machines that we've got.
Technology got clever in it.
Yes.
I mean, that was one of the interesting things that's gone around the factory. And before I forget to mention it, because I really do want to mention these before I do. But like, as you go around the factory, there's all the signs which you can tell have been there absolutely years. You know, like little quotes. You know, like be proud of what you do and stuff like that.
Yeah, quality comes first.
Quality comes
Quality
first.
is the only thing. Yeah.
Which like those signs are literally what they like, maybe 80s.
Yeah, they were put up. In fact, when our owner come the other day, and I tend not to see them anymore because I'm always looking at other stuff and the processes. But one of the first things I mentioned, then he saw the signs and he wants us to upgrade the signs to have actually our sort of colours on and our brand image. But you're going to say don't do it.
Don't do it.
Back to 80s.
I look, because it kind of shows the ethos, the values, what you're all about has been there right from the very, very word go. Just throwing it in because it's the latest buzzword and pretending to care about your customers. Like, literally, its foundations are literally not changing. Maybe put some new ones about so they stand out even more. Like, bloody hell, they've been saying that for ages.
So you'll have to come back in 12 months and see whether we listen to the owner or Rich. Well, I take your point on board, though.
Yeah, no, I do. I definitely would keep them 100%. And the other thing I really like seeing everywhere is English flags, because as English people, we don't actually really do that. And there is a couple of places where we've got the flags around, because it's like, you go to America, literally everyone's got one in the front garden.
Yeah, well, that's actually where they come from. Not from America, because they're obviously British flags.
Yeah.
But when Neil joined the business 4 years ago, he'd spent a lot of time in the States and spent over 10 years over there. And he couldn't believe that we didn't showcase the actual flag and the Union Jack.
Yeah.
But that comes from the American side. But absolutely right. So we just hung a few up. But yeah, we should take more pride in what we do. And British manufacturing, I think it's got a resurgence. People are looking to shorten supply chains.
We've had this conversation a lot recently. We've been in this podcast, and people are saying the same thing, other manufacturers. And what they're actually seeing is, over the last couple of years, people are going to Turkey, they're going to China, they're going to Middle East, Far East, wherever you're going to get products made slightly cheaper. But because of lead times, container prices, blah, 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 all the rest of it, British manufacturing, it's obviously always been here, but is making a bit of a returning popularity.
Yeah, people are seeing the value. I think someone summed it up when they came here, and it's a big national infrastructure company, and they said COVID had taught them that the world did have borders. They said it does have borders, and they can close at any minute for any reason. And we'd got into this thing where we all thought it was just global and things could pass wherever they wanted. And COVID really showed us that wasn't right. But yeah, we're seeing people realising the value more, and it's quite remarkable, because we've come like just a throwaway, disposable society. And if you take our products overseas, export, and you go to like the Middle East and Dubai and Hong Kong, Macau, as soon as you say it's made in Britain, absolutely love it. And they still see
extra weight to it,
yeah, they still see British manufacturing as the highest quality that it can be, and that's what we've always stuck with. So there's been a massive race to the bottom led by imported products. So when importers are importing cable, they'll send out tenders to 10 different companies, and the main deciding factor on who gets that is price ultimately. And it's forced people to de-engineer the products, look for cheaper compounds and reduce this and reduce that. And it's been a race to the bottom. And we've always tried to stay out of that race and wait until a time like this, possibly, where people see the value in, I actually want it to be right and I want it to be made in Britain and all the service that comes with it.
Yeah, 100%. Like I said before, that's exactly why we use you guys and use you guys exclusively. Unless something absolutely major has happened. But apart from that, 98% exclusively, is because of that. Like, if I'm installing something in a customer's house, I don't want to do it once. I don't want to come to a time where it's testing the job up and things are failing and cables aren't doing what they're supposed to do, because there is a lot of cheap/fake cable that makes it into the market, isn't there?
Yeah, it's loads over the past 10 years. Just the stuff I've seen here, there were 20 million meters recalled, probably about 10 years ago now, which they only actually recovered about 10 million meters. But Fake Britain, BBC Fake Britain, they did an episode on it, and you can watch that. But yeah, it's just commonplace. Short reels, we rewind other competitors' reels, and where it's supposed to be 100 meters, it'll be 98. And do people actually notice when they've chopped it up and put it in? You'd never ever know. But it just goes
so literally shortchanging people like that, even just knock the machines down to 98 meters.
98 meters, yeah. In fact, some of the Twin and Earth now that I've seen has 100 meters plus or minus 5 and 100 meters plus or minus 3. Just blatant black and white on the reel. Obviously not big writing. But I can control what our machines cut to about 5-6 centimeters.
And that machine is crazy, right? Because you obviously invested a lot of money in that Twin. Because Twin and Earth, granted, do all these other amazing cables, but that is like obviously probably bread and butter, bit of a staple.
Yeah.
Well, how many meters do you do a month for Twin and Earth? You told me this before, and it is a staggering figure.
Oh, just in the size 2.5 alone, it's over 1 million meters, over 1.2.
1 million meters of 2.5 mil Twin and Earth.
Just in one size, yeah. Yeah, so we're producing over 1 million meters a week of cable in general, but yeah, Twin and Earth's a big part of it.
Yeah, so with that, you've then got this machine. So you do the same with the rest of it. You put it onto huge spools. Obviously, it goes through all its processes. We're actually going to do a really cool video once we finish this on those processes. So it goes through all those. Watch the video if you want to see the processes I'm talking about. But once it's gone through all this process, it then gets to the packaging bit. This bit will be on the video, but I'm going to talk about it. So once it gets to the packaging bit, you've got this really fancy machine in it.
Yeah, so it's a dual winding head machine. So it's just basically constantly winding. So we're getting 100 meters of Twin and Earth out every 20 seconds. And then it's all fully automated. So you've got a bolt drum at the back, 15,000 meters, wound on 2 winding heads. So we're winding on one while it's wrapping on the other, constantly changing.
And it puts it onto the cardboard drum, wraps the cellophane around it, puts the label on, and even stacks it on the pallet.
Yeah, robotic arm stacks it on the pallet, yeah. And that is bolt drum, pallet into the warehouse, ready to be shipped to a wholesaler as quick as we possibly can.
Literally, in and out the door every day.
Yes, yeah, just that machine just runs non-stop, basically.
Yeah, because I said it to you before about how do you work. It's literally, you don't want to be like, right, turn machines off, lads, it's home time. You just want to keep them cranking. So do a shift pattern.
Yeah, so it's like 24 hours, but 4 days. So we've still got room to grow into the rest of the week, if you like. So we've still got more capacity. But a lot of the machines are continuous. So if you look at the wire drawing process, we cold fusion weld rod packs together. So it's a continuous process. Or the take-up side of an extruder, we've got a dual take-up. So the machines never stop in extruding. The machine will just change over onto the empty drum and constantly keep producing. So we get efficiencies from continually producing stuff. Yeah, no, definitely.
Yeah, right, well, I've absolutely loved it going around there. I'm just absolutely itching to go get over there and go around and film all these processes again. So I'm going to thank you very much for your time and coming on here today. And yeah, like I say, there is going to be a really cool, probably a series of really cool videos that are going to come out from this. And we'll go on there. So yeah, thank you very much for your time.
No problem.
Cheers.
Yeah.